Hello, sport fans. Mauricio here. Yes, this is the most complex procedure we have going for the entire class. Hey, look at this, cute thing I found. All the little arrows for the input parameters go down. Being input into SQL, the the arrow is going up for output. Just mildly interesting. Um, all right, so our stored procedures, we're trying to put in a output parameter so that we can get messages sent from the stored procedure back to our web page, so we can get messages. And so that's one good use of an output parameter. And so this is nvarchar, so we can write 200 letters worth of commentary. So if your commentary or messages or feedback is getting chopped, just switch it to a higher number. There's also nvarchar max, and you can write a little book if you want. So we have our feedback parameter there, so we have to have a matching feedback parameter here, but look, it's completely different code. All the rest of the code is of adding parameters is add with value, parameter name. By the way, you must have an @ sign there. The @ sign in SQL means it's some type of variable. So for the rest of them, you put in the name of the input parameter and then the control that provides the value. For an output parameter, you don't add it with the value because there is no value being sent by the human program user to the database. It's a value being sent from the database to the web page. And so it's not a value that you have to get from the program user. It's a value that you're getting from the web page. But so you don't add it with the value, but you do add the parameter and you tell it what the data type is. And so that 200 should match the 200 that you have in your stored procedure. And then the direction is output. So I would never ask you to memorize that, but I would ask you to understand the difference between an input and an output parameter. All right, so moving forward, we will at some point add more line items, and so we're going to right here, we're going to refresh the sales details. So that's refreshing the list we have inside our grid view. So our grid view sales details it grows. You have one item and you add another item, you add another item, you add another item. So we have to clear out the line items before we load it back together. So when you add another line item, well, you want to see it. So go ahead and clear out the array and then fill it up again. And here's the SQL query to fill it up. It just says, give me not all, but most of the columns from the sales details table where sale ID is the highest one. So this actually technically is a subquery because there's two select statements. So first get the highest max sale ID. That's the highest. I guess the next one would be 72. And then, go ahead and get me these columns. So why didn't I just say select star from? Well, I want the columns in a particular order, but if I can get away with select star from, I would do it. But there's many other columns in the sales details table. We added all those columns to help us with the reporting. So I'm stuck with selecting just the columns. By the way, again, this is a SQL select statement that must all be on one line. You can't, and by the way, I would create this code in SSMS, and then when you paste it over, it might look something like this. And what you have to do is put it all on one line, and do not put the two words together like that, please. It won't work. And so I'm just hitting the backspace, going to the beginning of the line, hitting the backspace, and it all looks like one line. What happens if you just hit enter? It probably just dies later. So I'll just leave it at that. But this date adapter is the quickest way to get just a bunch of rows onto your web page. So you create the date adapter, you give it a select statement, you run it over your connection, and then later on, it's just 3 words. Hey, data adapter, go fill the array. Hey, data adapter, go run your select statement. And that's what data adapters do. All right, so we have our command. We loaded it up with all our parameters. And now we're going to go run the command, which saves a line, does an insert statement into the sales details table. So open the connection and go ahead and run the command. In other times we did date adapter. Yeah, right here, date adapter. We didn't have to open the connection. So date adapters automatically open the connection. Commands, you have to open the connection. And so this command save line item, which is running the stored procedure, we're going to run it right here. So line 262 runs the stored procedure. It would blow up and give you error messages if it didn't like your input parameters. So don't take it personal. All right, so this line here runs the insert statement, and we'll go update the products as well, because that's also inside our stored procedure. Why do they call it non-query? Because it's not a query. A query is when you get an answer, a question and answer, like give me back a data set. So we're executing SQL, but it's not a query. So I didn't make up the name of this method. So it's just command execute non-query. When we delete records, it'll be cmd delete whatever execute non-query. So insert, update, delete. Command if the store procedure is doing an insert, update, or delete, then you're going to have a command and use execute non-query. Only when you're getting data back do you do this using DA as data adapter. But rather than get back a data set and deal with that, what I'm doing is just go refresh. We already wrote that code to go refresh the arrays, so I don't have to do double work. All right, so this is how you deal with the output parameter. So we had our string variable that we made up here. All right, string variable, when you see an equals sign, it goes from right to left. So go take this parameter, feedback parameter. So command.parameters, which parameter? Feedback dot value, put it into a string, and then put it into this string variable. So this toString is pretty important. And so we're making sure the text returned from the start procedure is text, and then we're assigning it to the string variable, and then response start right. We're putting that up in the upper left-hand corner. I'm kind of getting tired of that, so I'll comment that out. But the feedback is definitely going into our text box. So open the connection, run the insert statement to add another line item to the sales detail table, run the update products code as well, go fetch that feedback, and then show it in a text box. So insert and update. And let's refresh our line items in the grid view on the page, so we can see, oh, we added another item. So we have a special purpose data adapter. Again, it's the fastest way to do it. If you're running a stored procedure, some complex subquery with a group by and a join, yeah, then definitely run your stored procedure. I would never type anything other than a select star from inside this web page, but even that I wouldn't really do. I'm just trying to get things done fast here. I would use stored procedures for everything if I was doing corporate work. It's the most secure. But data adapter, hey, go run your select statement and go fill the grid view, which I cleared out the rows from before. And then grid view, go display the current list of line items for the invoice I'm working on. And so it's always 2 lines, set the data source and then bind. And now at the end of the procedure, I'm saying, well, we don't need that checkbox anymore. Let's hide that because you're not a new invoice anymore. If you close, when we go back and close, complete the sale, then we'll see our checkbox come back. But for now, since we're going to be adding more line items, we don't want the program user to click on that and say, oh, it's a new sale. It's not a new sale. You're just adding line items to an existing sale. So just to preclude that error, just don't even show it to them. All right, so you add line items, and we talked about clearing. So again, you just hide some controls. You can't change the customer or the invoice date in the middle of adding line items to an existing invoice. And then clear out the product, and clear out the units, and clear out the feedback. All right. So we keep adding line items, add more, add more, add more. How about when we complete the sale? When we complete the sale, we're going to update the customers, and then we're going to condense the line items into one row and stick it in the sales summary table. So this is pretty similar. I have some string variables for feedback. I'm clearing out the global data tables that are made up here somewhere. And so clear out the arrays, and then here's our first command that's going to run our update customer. So the update customer, which did get a little refresh. I remember in the last video, if that's the right one. Yeah, number skew. So we're running and we're getting feedback here. So make sure to add your feedback output parameter. And so go update just that one customer. Update that one customer. And this fancy join does that. And this has been explained elsewhere. So that's the store procedure we're going to run. We don't have any input. It's just going to take the data and condense it into the next table. And so we do want to get some feedback. So this command is just for updating the customer, and you want some feedback there. This next one does the condensing, but it's the same over and over and over. We want some feedback. Maybe you vary the amount of words you can, letters you can pass back. But I'll wrap this up in the next video, and thanks for hanging in there.